for another piano lesson. If you've tried to use the skills that we've gone over so far and the information that we've covered in previous lessons, you may have noticed that when you try and use them and play a song, that it might not sound as good as you'd like it to. As you know, you might be trying your hardest and you're playing the triads that we went over. Let's say you have a song that goes like this: C, G, A minor, and F. As you can tell, it kind of sounds a little jumpy. Like I'm jumping all the way from C to G. So today we're going to talk about what's called inversions. But first I want to talk about what your left hand should be doing. We actually will kind of use our left hand almost like a bass player, and the right hand will play the chords. All right? So for instance, if we're playing a C chord, you might just play whatever rhythm that you see fit in your left hand as you're holding out this right chord, or you might play a rhythm in your right hand as well. So let's take those chords that I just did, the C, G, A minor, and F. Again, notice I'm just playing one note, the root note of each chord, the C, G, the A, and the F, and you can play them in whatever octave you like. You could even play them in octaves, so C, G, some people even like to play fifths, and you'll have to refer to a previous lesson to know what that means. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a fifth. I don't prefer to do that. I prefer either single notes or octaves most of the time, but watch how this can sound a little bit better now, just adding in the left hand. So let's take that same progression that we just talked about. You have C, G, keeping a constant rhythm in my left hand and kind of playing around with some syncopation or some offbeats in my right hand. All right. So again, I could do it with octaves. I could do a bunch of different things. Again, you can use the fifths, whatever you would like to do with your left hand. But start utilizing your left hand that way. All right. So now I want to talk about inversions. So this is very, very important. Even with those left-hand notes, I still would not, me personally, play that chord progression like this. Again, like I said at the beginning, it sounds a little jumpy. I'm having to, if you notice, I'm having to move that triad shape, that 1, 3, 5 shape, all over the piano. So what inversions do is they give you the ability to play things in more close vicinity to the previous chord. So let's go over, there are 2 inversions to every triad. So let's just use the C chord. And again, if I don't know if I explained it in the other lesson, but the proper fingering to play the root position triad would be 1, 3, and 5. Okay? First finger, third finger, and fifth finger. And if you're doing it in your left, it's 5, 3, 1. Right? Okay? But inversions will now take those 3 notes of the chord, C, E, and G, and an inversion will actually play them just in a different order, but you're using the same 3 notes. So the first inversion of a C chord would be E, G, C. So you're taking that note C down here from your root position. This is called a root position triad. A root position chord, the C major chord that you've been playing, that's what it's called, a root position C major chord, a root position triad. The first inversion takes this C and moves it up an octave, essentially. And now you're going to play with your first finger, second finger, and fifth finger. So now you're playing E, G, C. The same 3 notes, now just a different order. Right? So that's first inversion. Alright, so that's still a C chord, and it's still going to sound very similar if you have the C's in the bass. The bass line's still going to sound similar. That's the whole purpose of your left hand kind of being the bass player. Alright, so second inversion now takes that E note and puts it up here. So this is usually, the proper fingering would be 1, 3, 5 as well. Now, a lot of people don't use the exact fingerings, and in the context of a song, as you're moving around, you may not use the perfect textbook fingerings either. But it's important to know them before you start varying from them. All right. So G, C, E. Still all three notes of the triad being heard, just in a different order. So notice what this does. How this opens us up. Let's say we want to start with our first inversion C. We're playing these same chords. C, G. I just went from a C first inversion to now I'm going to play that G in the root position. And now I can play, let's say, the A in the root position. And then instead of jumping down to play the F down here, what if I play the F in first inversion? Notice what I did to the F chord. The root position would be F, A, C. I took that F, put it up there, so now I'm in first inversion. So if I start in, how about I start in root position C? So I'm just showing you that there's a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different combinations of ways that you can play through chord progressions and play through the chords of your songs. Instead of having to jump, you can do, that's root position C to first inversion G, right? G, B, D. I just move that G up there. And then let's say I want to play, I don't know, second inversion A minor. Playing E, A, C instead of A, C, E or A, C, E. I'm just playing it E, A, C. And then look how convenient this is. To play an F chord, all I have to do is move my thumb over one note. So you'll play around with it, you'll see which ones are more convenient than others. And certain ones will become more natural to you, but please start messing around with that and trying to play different inversions instead of only playing root position. Again, root position is 1, 3, 5 of any given chord, and this works for major or minor, as you saw with the A minor chord. Root position is 1, 3, 5 in order from left to right or bottom to top. First inversion is 3, 5, 1. Again, you could play it any octave, that's still first inversion down there, as long as it's 3, 5, 1. I'm not talking about finger numbers, I'm talking about notes of the chord, the third of the chord, the fifth of the chord, and the root of the chord. Right? And second inversion is 5, 1, 3. So it's 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3. And that covers all of the inversions for your major and minor triads. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. Practice, practice, practice.